Hi guys, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. I'm so glad that you've joined me today because on a regular basis I post updates on M&E. So if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to this channel because you'll be fine-tuned into what M&E is and all about, okay? I want to apologize that I haven't really been posting of late because I've been super busy. The year has come to an end and we have to look back and see what we've achieved. So I'm sure you understand all that. But I've always been thinking about you, my fans, and I'm so glad that we've hit 8,000 subscribers and it looks like we'll keep on growing. Okay, so let's get straight. So now, if you haven't yet done so yet, please download these two very important ebooks. One is Learn Logical Framework Analysis Step by Step, and the Monitoring and Evaluation Beginner's Guide for 2020. There's going to be a new guide being released for 2021. It will be totally different. Every year we'll be releasing some new guides, and this is so that we keep information up to date and recent. I have this course which I'm running, how to set up an M&E system step by step. So please guys, support this channel by enrolling in this course. If you haven't done so yet, it is very cheap. Okay, so as usual, this is a long video, at least 10 minutes, and I want you to take full advantage of these timestamps in the description below. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight to it. So now, what are some of the monitoring and evaluation tools that are out there? So now I want you to understand two things. Monitoring and evaluation, as we all know, is all about trying to ascertain whether your planned activities are being implemented on track and whether these activities have actually brought about change. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we need change, right? We shouldn't be doing things for nothing. We should be rewarded for our action. But it's not always about that. It's not all about rewards, really. Actually, that's not the backbone of M&E. It's about learning and improvement. So to be able to fulfill your M&E function, you need the right tools. You need the instruments that will help you achieve your goals. And these are the monitoring and evaluation tools that I want us to discuss about. I've been discussing this in previous videos, and please don't mind if there's a bit of some variation. It's not really that bad of a variation, to tell you the truth. You'll discover that many of the videos on M&E Made Simple, they are so similar. I speak the same language on and on each and every day. Okay, so there are 5 important tools you should use as an M&E specialist. So if you are entering the workforce for the very first time as an M&E professional, or you've been in this field for some time now, I personally have been in the field for 10 years, okay? And it looks like I'll just be growing and growing like ever. But let's say you're just starting out. These are some of the tools I want you to use, okay? I want you to remember to use. So the first tool, which surpasses all the other tools, is the logical framework. So guys, the logical framework is like the starting point of any M&E intervention. It's what makes life for us so easy. The reason is that for M&E professionals, we are just interested in knowing the indicators, and it starts and ends there usually. Because for us, we want to know what is exactly the project is trying to achieve, and we can only know this through the indicators. Surprisingly enough, not all projects have these log frames, and I think it is high time that every project had one. Okay, they may have it, but it's not well documented and it's not so complete. And in such situations, you'll find that it's really hard to report, I mean, even to collect, analyze, and report on this data. So we really need to start from the basics on this one. It's non-negotiable. So every project should have one. And as an M&E professional, this is your starting point. This is your tool which can help you get the results you're looking for. So the indicators are usually found along this objectively verifiable indicators. This is where you find them. Okay, so what's the next tool? Secondly, you need the M&D guidelines, handbook, and policies. Sorry about I should have titled that properly. It's actually supposed to be M&D guidelines, handbooks, and tools and policies. I want to refer you to, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, the United Nations has a very interesting M&E handbook. It is free of charge. You can download it whenever you want. It was one of the first things I used when starting out my career. I like the way they've really documented how M&D should be um, implemented, except that it's more contextualized to the UN system. So now, one thing you need to realize is that when you're implementing M&E, you need these guidelines. If at all there are guidelines in the organization, if there's a handbook of some sort that has been contextualized to the organization system, that is something you should be moving around with on a regular basis. Okay, when you do your field activities, when you do your planning, always refer to it as if it was your Bible. The policies are so important because they give you the boundaries in which you should operate in. So this is another tool which you need to keep handy, guys. And if you don't have this in the organization currently, this is your chance to propose to management that you really need to start developing this. Data collection instruments and methodologies. So now, when it comes to the time of collecting data on the indicators you have identified from the log frame, you have to have a tool that's actually going to collect the data. So this tool is the instruments, the data collection instruments. There are different ways in which you can develop these tools, and they can be aligned to any of these three methods of data collection. So take for instance, if you want to do interviews, you need to have some kind of interview guide. You can develop an interview guide and ask questions to your participants, all right, in order to determine whether the project is gaining any ground at all. You can also use tools that are aligned to observations, okay? This is another data collection method whereby you simply just look around you and document what you've seen. Then the questionnaires is also another tool, okay? So if you need more assistance, you can always write to me so that I can explain this further, and I'll be happy to uh, allocate some time for you, but I can't guarantee, and this is what I always tell different people who write to me looking for a free service. I always mention that it's difficult because my time is usually quite compressed. I have so many clients that I need to help, and please forgive me if I'm not able to address your issues on time or at all. So I would really want you to take advantage of the free resources that are on this website. So that was just a by the way, in case you're one of those people. The M&D frameworks is another important tool. Okay, so the log frame, you might be asking, isn't the log frame part of this? I want to believe it is, but I've just separated it because I think that one should stand on its own. It's unique in its own sense. But when you look at the M&D frameworks, they are basically the three frameworks that I have dealt with in my 10 years of practice. You've got the conceptual framework, you've got the results framework, and the logic models. Now, these things are so important, and I like to think of them as the things, in case you don't find a logical framework in an organization, these are the kind of frameworks you can use to map out what the organization is trying to achieve. So, in other words, you can actually still implement M&E even without a log frame, but you have to map out how their intervention translates to the results. And this is the tools that you use to do so. I wish I had time to actually show you these tools. I'm just not sure. I have to check whether I have videos on these particular M&D frameworks. But in case I don't have them, one of these days I'm going to talk about, I can be able to help you fully understand. Okay, and lastly, but not the least, it's the M&E softwares. Okay, so again, I didn't, apologies for not editing the title well, but the M&E softwares are what you use as another tool. So as we go, I mean, as years go by, you discover that going digital is in many cases a good initiative, a good choice. So the softwares, I haven't used so many of these softwares, but there are a lot of softwares that are now coming on the market. And what these softwares do, they make it so easier for you to collect data, to store that data and report on it. So at the click of the button, instead of you having to manually develop tables, the softwares will do it for you. And you get to choose which indicator you want to be reported on. So it's quite interesting, and I'll try my best to do a bit more research on these M&E softwares so that at least you can get the maximum benefit, as you can get the maximum benefit as to considering whether this is something you can use in your organization. Okay, so thanks for listening, guys. It's been so wonderful. And I have to say that the year has been quite busy and quite interesting. We had the COVID-19. So I'll try to create a video that we can use to try to look back on the year and see what our strengths and weaknesses were. Okay. I've been your host, Coach Alexander. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.